Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Big Boss Battles, Big Boss Babble. We are going to be talking about the recent EGX Rezzed event, and joining me this week we've got Dan.
Hello.
And for the first time joining us on the podcast, it's Jupiter.
Hello.
Hey. So we've got a little list of games that we're going to go through that we enjoyed at the event. And the first one, I believe, is Angelina.
Which isn't technically a game. It's an AI.
Oh, I saw this. This was interesting.
Yeah, so Angelina's made by Mike Cook. He's a professor, basically, in AIs. He studied AI for a long time, and he's made Angelina. This is the first time that Angelina's gone to an event, and the first time that she's been showcased. And she makes games. She's actually entered Ludum Dare a couple of times, and she's made various little games. And while at the event, you could go up to a computer by her, I guess. Well, she's not like a physical thing. So you could go up to a computer and put in some, like, things that you wanted to teach Angelina. And then she made a game based around that and then play tested the game. And if it was a good game, gave it to you to play. Like the second day had a load of computers with the games that she made for you to play.
It was a cool concept. I did see it. I watched it for a little while when it's sitting there creating stuff, and it's just like sitting there going crunching, making levels, all these little bars. And I remember talking to Dan about it, because Dan, didn't the guy come out to lunch with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, wandered off towards Tower Bridge with us.
Yes. See, I postulated restarting the AI, because Dan was telling me, like, I'll ask you a question, like, does jelly wobble or something like that, and you'd say yes or no. Mm-hmm. And I postulated resetting the AI and giving it bogus answers to everything. And
what do you mean?
Yeah, but think of the just random stuff that it would come up with. It would come up with stuff that you could not even dream of.
I mean, crowdsourcing information, which is what it was doing, would probably, if it was left on show, or if she was left on show for long enough, have resulted in that. I mean, I saw, on the first day, I saw somebody typing in, Angelina requested kind of give me a noun or an item, and they typed in jelly as the example I gave. And then it said, tell us a verb, tell us what jelly does. And they were like, jelly wobbles. But then, like, the next day, I saw it said something like, would bees attack a cat? Would this attack that? And so if people had fed in nonsense, it would be going like, will a bee wobble at a cat? Will a...
Yes.
Yeah. So... It could be interesting. I liked the game that that was being shown on the second day. It looked a lot like Rodent's Revenge, the old Microsoft Entertainment Pack game. There was kind of cats moving around and moving blocks and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you want some statistics on Angelina?
Go on then, that sounds good.
At the event, 190 people contributed information to her, meaning it got about 570 opinions on knowledge, as well as 60 new concepts, 60 new facts, and 36 ideas for games. It made around 27 million moves across the entirety of Rezzed and released 3 games.
Awesome. Cool. I'll tell you what, here's an idea. If he's listening, what's his name? Mike Cook. Run your game on a system, live stream it on Twitch, and use the Twitch AI to let people interact with it.
It's a pretty good idea, actually.
He would get so much data from that.
But do you want Twitch's data from it? Yeah.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. Obviously, like, if I said Twitter, yeah, it would turn it into some kind of like Hitler killing babies or something game. But obviously Twitch has got that thing where they've done those Twitch plays, like Twitch plays Pokemon and Twitch plays Dark Souls, and the community really comes together and works together to, come out with a good outcome. So I think it would probably get a lot of good information.
So, Mike, I think, because I know you listen to all of my shit, I think what you should do is ask Angelina if she wants to be live streamed on Twitch and taught from the Twitch people, since she gets an opinion in this stuff.
She's real.
She kind of is. I'm always impressed with what Mike does. He's really, really brilliant. And Angelina even has her own Twitter, where she asks questions like, would it make sense to you for a cheese to move?
Oh, so it is already using Twitter then?
I don't know if they actually collect the responses,
Ah, right,
but
okay.
clicking on the does it make sense to you for a cheese to move, all of the answers are no, apart from only if soft and cut. So, oh wait, one person said yes. 2 people have said yes, but it's majority no.
So you won't be able to play as a cheese or run away from cheese in the... No, which means you'll never be able to escape from a rolling cheese wheel.
Oh.
You see? So...
What's that cheese rolling hill simulator 2018? It will never be seen.
Yeah, that's it. That's a game that won't happen now.
I've corrected it. I've typed, if it is a cheese wheel, yes.
There you go.
There
Excellent.
we go. Corrected.
Live on air.
Right.
Cool.
So let's move
I'm efficient.
on. Cool. Right. So let's move on. The next one up on the list is Hack Tag by Piece of Cake Studios.
Okay, so Hack Tag's really cool. It's a 2-player game. I think it's actually up to 4-player. And you are agents that are trying to break into a place and steal stuff. And one of you is a kind of hacker, one of you's in the machines, essentially, and the other one's a physical agent. The physical agent goes around, cracks open doors, needs to avoid guards that are moving around and have line of sight. It's like your normal kind of stealth affair. Whereas the hacker, I suppose, is moving along electronic cables. There are, I suppose, viruses or guards, firewalls, let's call them, that are moving around that can catch the hacker as well. So both of the characters can be caught. And when you move as the hacker, you move from connection to connection. So once you've started a journey to a new terminal, that's it. You're already on the way. So you can be intercepted if you're not good enough. And so what you just need to do is communicate and look out for each other. So one of you might be trapped in the corner of a room because there are guards approaching, but if the hacker can get to the door in time, they can unlock the door so you can get through it, and then they can slam the door on the guard's face, which might be long enough for the other person to get away just in time. And it's very clever. To gate the areas off, there are moments where both of you need to interact with something so that you both move forward from that point. Yeah. Yeah, that was a quick time event, wasn't it?
Yeah, and widely number based.
Yes. Oh yeah. You had to roll up and get... There was also the one where you had to press the D-pad in the right direction.
Yep.
If one character gets caught, then the other character has the choice of either just milling around for the meantime and setting off coffee machines and setting off phones to distract guards, or you can go all the way back to the start and break the other person, or break the person out of jail or out of the machine that they've been trapped within, or you can just wait for the timer to pass and they'll come back out again. So it's quite nice that there didn't seem to be a foul state, although there probably is one. But
we did get negative 800 points, but 8,000 points.
That's true.
But just to correct you, it's only a 2-player game. It's co-op. Yeah, it's currently out on Steam at £15.49, and you can play it online or local.
Cool. It's got online.
Yeah, it's online multiplayer, online 2-player, local.
That's good.
2-player, co-op. I'm just reading what it says on Steam.
Cool. I normally do a lot more research than this.
Cool. I don't know, I've never been here before.
That's fair.
Excellent. Certainly sounds like a fun game. So next up, we got something that I watched Dann play. This is by Muse Games, the people who did Guns of Icarus. And this came out of, I think it was an internal jam, wasn't it? So it's a game called Hamsterdam.
Yeah, they were trying to make a game that was the opposite of Guns of Icarus. So rather than this team-based, not slow, but shooting game played at long range, they made this really fast-paced, quick-motion combat game. And you play as a little hamster that's just got to beat up all of these other enemies, and you're doing martial arts, and there's big hulking bosses and a big bad guy at the end, and it's all swipe based. So any swipe input that crosses any enemies, you'll hit them, but then there's also charge attacks and all sorts, and it's just really fast and frantic, and it's hard to put down and easy to pick up again. I just really enjoyed it. I really liked the art style. It was so completely different than Guns of Icarus, which I also really liked the art style of. It was just like a Saturday morning cartoon, but it almost felt like you could just put it down, pause it, and then pick it back up and start again. And it almost had that kind of addictiveness that you get with rhythm games when you get into a jam.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It felt more like a rhythm type game, because it was sort of, you didn't just swipe and then you had the tap in when you got one of them on the ropes or whatever, and then you had that KO button, didn't you? You drag it out from the bottom
you had
to
the
immediately
power.
knock out a character.
Yeah, the knockout. You could drag to. You could also, this I quite liked. You could drag the knockout that you charged up on smaller enemies onto an enemy that you've not even engaged with in the background. So it was just really enjoyed
There was
it.
also points in the game where, to give yourself a break from all of the tapping and swiping, you became a little hamster on a skateboard, just sort of collecting seeds.
Yes,
And I
between
thought that
levels.
was a really good break. I'd first seen Hamsterdam in the Big Indie pitch a few years ago, I believe, or at least a year ago. I don't really know. And it's come a long way since then. It's really fully developed now, and it has way more gameplay.
Yeah, it did look like fun, and obviously Wendy was there selling it as she always does very well.
Yes.
And she was dressed with hamster ears and a little outfit.
She was, yes.
Yeah, that's an important note.
Right, so the next one up, we've got Hipster Cafe Simulator by the Loading Bar.
The stall owner was Loading Bar. Hipster Cafe Simulator is not made by the Loading Bar. They just sponsored the booth. It's actually made by Useful Slug. So Hipster Cafe Simulator is a simulator-based game where you run a hipster cafe. It's going to be available later this year, and you can design burgers with loads of different ingredients. It gives it a name based on or just plates of food. It gives it a name based on what you've put down. And then you've got different hipsters that come into your cafe. The idea behind this is that hipsters, they are ever-changing. They just want to adapt to what's trendy at the time. So there's different factions of these hipsters, and they have different things that they prefer and things that they dislike. So there's like hippie-ish ones, and there's goth ones, and there's like lumberjack ones. And as they move around your cafe, they interact with objects that you put down. And you can put down things like ball pits or game machines or mini golf tanks or mini golf like courses or axe throwing things or beer tanks. And if they interact with something positively, a little a heart will appear above their head or a smiley face. If they act negatively, negative faces will appear above their head like emojis, and that'll affect the rating of your cafe. And they can also tweet stuff, so they take pictures of your cafe and pictures of their food, they tweet it, and the plan is you can end up sort of changing what the trends are based on tweets. Like if you see some tweets that are out that are like, oh, metal's really cool, you can disagree with it or start campaigns against it, or you could decide to make a burger that's like metal inspired to see if that'll get you more traffic. Currently it's a very, very rough build that they had at EGX, but there's a lot of potential there, and the amount of fun that can be had from just creating your little plates of food and making them look perfect is quite fun. It's quite intense.
So is it quite a fast-paced game, a bit like, say, Cook Serve Delicious or something like that, or is it more of a, because you've got to design
you're just kind of
stuff,
managing, so it's quite slow.
Okay.
People wander in and out of your restaurant. You don't really have to interact with them. You just watch their path and see what they interact with. So it's a lot of paying attention to various places and who's happy with what.
I'd say that it pushes you forwards a lot less than, say, the theme games, or definitely Theme Hospital, for instance. You're definitely reacting to things. You're not being proactive until obviously you start trying to lead trends.
So it's just a lot more freeform. You can practically just do what you want to do.
Yeah, but obviously if you want to keep earning money and stuff, then you want to.
Excellent. That does sound fun. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. So, next up, we've got Over the Alps by Stave Studios.
I really enjoyed this. I
liked it.
Good. I really like choose your own adventure games. I really like narrative adventure games. You know, I like narrative exploration games like walking simulators. So I like things with a good story and stuff where it feels like your choices or the direction that you're going in matter. That's why I play games, for that escapism, that doing something different. And so the deeper the world, or the more engaged the characters are with other ones, the more I enjoy it. And Over the Alps sees you as a spy trying to, I suppose, effectively rebuild a resistance movement as World War II breaks out. The demo had been slightly altered so that it would suit the event, and that ends with you breaking out a character and a kind of mentor character, not carrying on in the story. But it was interesting that it took the normal choice mechanics and the storytelling was being done through postcards,
yeah, and stamps.
That's it. And yeah, the stamps that you put on it were the attitude that you choose to deal with the situation in. So one may turn up because you took a violent or more brash approach. One, you may have been subtle. Another, you may have been suave. And so there's normally 2 or 3 of these stamps to choose between. I think there were more at one point as well. And you see the story ever so slightly tweak as you move between the stamps until you decide which one you want to put on. And it genuinely, I kind of wanted to sit down and start playing it again to see how much it altered the story, because it really felt exceptionally well written, and each response that I had and all of the callbacks that it made felt as though I was steering that story. The only thing that I didn't like was there's a fret bar, because one of the characters that you meet is kind of hunting you and tracking you down, and at one point, obviously to bring the demo to a close, it suddenly steps up massively and you get this showdown that ties it all up. And that felt a bit cheaty, but I understand that was meant to be a sudden peak moment in the roller coaster of the whole thing. But yeah, absolutely wonderful game, beautiful artwork, and just a brilliant idea.
I do like very much how the game was presented. I do really enjoy the postcards and the way that the stamps are your emotions. I don't know, I don't have a whole lot of fault with it. I don't love narrative games as much as you. I just don't like being male, despite none of the game except the first bit required me to be male.
Yeah.
In all of the postcards, I'm using the words like I or we. I'm not using a pronoun, so I don't see why the first word I get has to be sir. And when talking to Dan about this, he was like, well, I think you're writing home to your wife. Which, okay, cool, but also that doesn't make me male, and also it never says that she's my wife. So I could be writing home to my sister, I don't know. I just wish that it didn't enforce male pronouns on me while I play your games when not needed.
So we spoke to Cash about that, who's the writer at the studio, and he said that was one of the biggest bits of feedback that they'd had so far. So that was something that they were looking at changing, so that's good.
Can't imagine it'd be hard to change, because it really didn't seem like it was mentioned elsewhere in the story. So it's just a 3-letter word at the start. Yeah, that's it.
Fair enough, sounds interesting. So this one was, I watched Sean and Maggie play this for a little while. After trying to find them for over 2 hours, we found them playing this game. This was Photographs, and this was in the Tentacle Zone. I don't know who the developer is.
I can get it. It's 88 Games.
88 Games. Cool. So it looked like a puzzle game based around a bunch of photographs. So they were like Polaroids, and the Polaroids presented you with a little image, and then it seemed to zoom in on parts of it, and then it came up with almost like a ball bouncing kind of puzzle game where you had to manipulate walls to bounce the ball round, hit a sort of an avatar of a person, and then get it to like a bucket at the end.
I believe there's a variety of puzzles in it.
Yeah, that was the only part I saw while I was watching it. That was all I saw of it.
There are 5 different stories, and each story has its own different puzzle mechanic. So what you're doing is you're looking at someone's life through snapshots that you're taking of various moments in their life. So you get one screen, and that screen sort of builds and becomes smaller and bigger depending on what stage is in the story. It's beautifully narrated. And they sort of tell you the story I played is the same one that Maggie played. It's one of they didn't have it reset properly. Their game didn't reset properly to the main screen, so one of the machines only had that story all day because it didn't reset back to main menu. But it was a story of a swimming group, a group of girls who were training for almost like Olympic swimming.
Yeah, that's what I saw,
entering a lot of contests, And basically you were given a clue, and the clue would be something like winning or lockers or something like that, and you need to focus your camera on that part of the screen to take a snapshot, and the snapshot would progress the story. but the snapshot would also trigger an event, which would be the puzzle. And for that particular one, it was about bouncing a ball sort of around through a cannon almost, around and into the swimming pool. And as more characters came through the story, like as more characters were introduced, you had to cross the ball over with more people before getting it in. All of the stories have a really weird, well, not a really weird, have a surprising dark twist to them. So everything seems so light and happy, and the music's light and happy, and the people's voices are light and happy, and then all of a sudden, you'll start to see cracks in these perfect pictures you're taking. You'll start to see things that don't quite line up.
Doesn't someone drown? I'm sure I saw someone drown.
Yeah, bad things happen.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it was sort of happy and smiley, and then, well, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yep. Stuff happens. It's bad. This game looks really cool, though, and it's coming out in 2018 to PC, Macs, Linux, iOS, and Android, so hopefully I'll get to play more of the stories then. Cool
stuff. Yeah, it did look fun. This is one I didn't see, I don't think. So, Rebound by Hexterion. This is one of yours, Dan.
So, I believe it was Alex or Adam that we bumped into on the first day because he was walking around with, I've forgotten his name, the guy from Fuji. I probably just said the name wrong there as well. So this game is, because there has been a slight resurgence in them recently, it's a future sport game. It's top down, it's kind of dodgeball, and you've got these dodgeballs. It's 4-player. You throw these dodgeballs, you can charge them, and they can smash through parts of the arena. But the gist is, obviously, you don't want to get hit with these balls. But at the same time, the outside of the arena can fall away, and the tiles on the floor can fall away as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just
to get the ball, you have to sort of dash through it, which is like high risk, high reward.
That's it. Or you can wait for it to slow down enough that you pick it up. But obviously, by that point, there will be other people milling around trying to do the same. And there's an arrangement of different kind of teams that you can have. There's also mutators in it from the start, and they have mutator playlists as well, which includes kind of like just visual mutators as well as actual gameplay ones like higher gravity and stuff. So the visual ones could be like a massive arm for throwing the ball, and it just kind of harkens back. I just like it when people say that they've got mutators in their games, to be honest, because it just reminds me of Unreal Tournament, and I have a soft spot for that.
As do I.
Yes, that's it, exactly, because we're old. That's what it is.
I sucked so bad at the game, I scored like 0 points at the end. Like, I played so many rounds and I did so badly. I'm so bad at these dodgeball style games. I don't know if it's because dodgeball wasn't allowed in my school, so I don't know how to do it or what, but no, I suck at it. But it looks really cool. It was very well presented, and the amount of diversifiers in it gives it a good variety and makes it more unique than other dodgeball games.
So. That's it. And it's laid out in neon, cyberpunk, and it's a future sport, which everyone loves future sport games.
Yeah.
Because they're more fun than sport games, because they're in the future.
Yep. And the best one, of course, is Speedball, just as an aside there.
There you go.
So next, we've got something that looks fantastic, and Dan, we both need to get this and play it over lunch at one point, because I think it will work really well in the cafe. And that is Smash Tanks by Dumpling Design.
I'm going to tell you both a secret about Smash Tanks by Dumpling Design.
Go ahead.
I am the best at Smash Tanks by Dumpling Design. If you go to their Twitter, on EGX, there's just some pictures of me winning against people. I've beat the other developer at it several times now. I love Smash Tanks. It's an AR-based game, so you hold different iPads currently, and you're looking at a table through your iPads. The table's obviously blank, and through your iPad you can see a board. There's various different boards, and all of them have like buildings on it, or trees and bushes, and you play a group of 3 tanks, and your challenger, who might be Dan, has 3 other tanks. These tanks have random weapons on them, and you basically just, like, almost like billiards or almost like pool, you pull back on your tank, one of 3 gets selected, they cycle through. You pull back on your tank and then you let go and they spring forwards. If you pull back more, they go with more force forwards. If you hit buildings, they can knock down. Your goal is to hit other tanks. These tanks do have points on them that have little signs on them, and that if you hit that area, it's like a crit hit. Or you can hit your own tanks. Now, hitting your own tanks charges up your bonus. You can also find bonuses in the field that automatically work. And then once your bonus is completely charged, it activates. And these bonuses can be things like healing other tanks around you, or putting out a bomb, which is an explosive area around you, or direct missiles that'll go and kill another tank. It's a fun game.
I feel like I'm learning so much more about this game that I should have been told before I started playing the game, but the developer was distracted because you sent them away, and instead didn't teach me how to play the game.
Fair enough. We're definitely together.
We've played the game at several events. The game's been at several events you've been at. If you haven't picked up how the game works yet, this is not my fault.
I've played it once. It was at Rezzed against you.
Well, yeah, you should play more. Like, it was at quite a few events you were at.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Yeah, before the podcast I checked, and it's on Android as well now, so I might have to pick that up. But just out of interest, because the only experience I've ever had with AR, apart from stupid crap like Pokemon Go, is are the games that you could play.
Other AR crap is available.
Yes, other AR crap is available. Are the little AR games that came with both the 3DS and the PS Vita? They both came with a set of cards that you placed down, and that was how it tracked it. So how is this tracking the playfield?
You draw it out almost with your fingers. You draw it out.
All right, so you're looking through your phone at the table, and you just kind of go like that.
You draw like a square.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. So you draw a square, and it kind of goes, okay, I'm now tracking that square in real life, and it knows what it's doing.
Yeah, and it recommends you put it on a table.
But do you need a table that's got a pattern, or can it be completely plain?
No, it can just be. I've seen it at events on many tables. The table doesn't matter.
Because if it can track a thing on a completely plain table, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive game. It's £2.39.
It is indeed. Yeah.
Go pick it up.
Yes, I think we'll have to get that done. Another game at some point.
Sounds good.
Right, so next up we've got Tala by the Garden Wall.
Garden Well.
Sorry, I can't read.
And you tell me now? You've done so well so far. Tala's really good. So we've got something going up on the site soon about it from Maggie, actually. She's asked a couple of questions of the developer as well. But this is a game that kickstarted the other year. It's just a little point-and-click game, but it's in an absolutely lovely setting. It's basically these real-world pictures, kind of gardens and, well, not just gardens.
Lush greenery.
Yeah, lush greenery.
Forests.
And forests and woodland. I've got these wonderful little sketched objects put on them, and all of these characters just kind of gibber. And yeah, the demo that I played was relatively short. You had to bake a cake to bribe someone to get a watering can, to water a seed, to grow a plant. But it was just really fun. I didn't want to get up. I was surprised that that the demo that they had there was so short, because I would have happily sat there and played it for another 20-30 minutes. It was just really lovely, and it was very reminiscent, although the art style's quite different, but very reminiscent of Amantia Software's Machinarium and Botanicula, I think it's called, wherein you've got these chirpy little characters. It's otherworldly, but yet it's also got the kind of real world element to it, even though it's this otherworldly thing. Yeah, just really enjoyable.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to play it, but I saw the Kickstarter bumping around earlier this month, actually, and took a look at it, and it looks really adorable, I very much liked. Yeah, it was this month. That the project was not funded on April 11th.
Oh, I thought it was. So. I thought this was a while back. Maybe I misread something. I'm probably living in the future because of all those future sports I play.
Yeah,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I didn't see this one, but you mentioned Machinarium, and I remember that game looking gorgeous. So
I'm just here to disagree with Dan, really. So he's wrong. I'm correct. Moving on.
That's fine. Normally nobody bothers. They just let me just talk. So it's
not doing it.
So I'm just gonna do it.
You can get the playable demo on the Kickstarter page, is what I was going to say, and it's free.
I was just going to say that as well. And there was a thing made with suggestions from the Kickstarter backers as well that I saw went out for free on itch. I don't know if that's the same thing as is on the Kickstarter page.
Yeah, the demo is up on itch as well, so if you want to check it out, it's there. You can play the cute little adventure. It's the same demo, I believe, that was at EGX Rezzed.
Very cool.
Very cool indeed.
Yes. So, next up, we've got Too Many Cooks. Again, this was in the Tentacle Zone, so who developed it?
One sec. I know his name's Jai, but that's not helpful because it's Jai and his friend.
Finu?
Isn't that just the name of his, like... Yeah, that is the name of his company. Finu.
Yeah, I said it wrong earlier.
Finu.
Yeah.
So it's Jai and Chris. So Jai, I can't say his last name either. Jai Barbecue and Chris Lai. I've made it. Yep.
Wish you'd never started now.
Yep. Have fun editing that out. It's a 3 to 6 player co-op party cooking game that's going to be out on iOS and Android. I wrote an article about this for the site not too long ago. I first saw it ages ago at We Geek Utopia. Dan, you were there, and I played it with you. And I love this game. I love this game so much. You're cooking little dishes and you've got different roles, but they're not like assigned roles. Basically, when you're looking at your phone, it's a board and it has 4 slots, and then it has a picture of all of the other players up top. And some of those slots are filled with roles. It'll be like a sink that you can wash dishes in, or a chopping board that you can cut at, or a crate where you get new ingredients, or a rice cooker where you have to cook rice. But you can just trade the roles that you don't like by just giving them to another character on the screen. If they have an empty space in inventory, it goes to them. And you have to do a lot of communication because each player will have orders that no one else can see on their own boards. And they'll have to complete those orders before the people who have sent in the orders, the customers, get angry. So in order to do that, you're going to have to communicate a lot. Like, I need this fish, and I need X rice, and I need a clean plate. And you'll do a lot of passing around, a lot of helping each other to get these orders completed on time. It's really, really fun.
So is this just... I'm guessing this is just local multiplayer?
I believe it's going to have an online multiplayer as well. You can share a room code, because it's already across platforms. You can share a room code, and if you log into that room code, basically, and you use the username, the code and the password, you end up playing with each other. Yeah, I think it is online, because they needed Wi-Fi.
It'll probably be quite... not as good playing it online, but I suppose if you've got voice chat on, so then it'll be fine. But the local multiplayer experience was fantastic. Just shouting at each other like, no, I need this cut. No, I need this prep. No, I've got plates. Why is nobody taking the plates? Someone take.
Surely you all need plates.
Yeah. No, I can't. I'm full. Someone just gave me some fish. I don't need the fish. Who's got a bin?
I need the pig fish, not the red fish.
Exactly. And everyone calling the tuna salmon, and everyone calling the salmon tuna, and yep. Good times.
It's a great, great game, though, and currently it's out on iOS and Android in alpha stage.
And it's really good.
So, can you buy it in alpha? Is it like an early access thing?
It's free. You just download it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you just download it. Or if you want their test flight, they're doing like a test flight for Apple, you just fill out a little form that's like, here's my Apple ID, and there you go. Done.
Nice. Certainly sounds like fun. Right, so we come to the last one on our main list. This is Weaving Tides by Follow the Feathers.
Okay. So...
I didn't play this game.
No, I played some of this, I think on the last day. You play as a human with a father that is a kind of floating manta ray with ribbon for its tail, and you can fly under things and up through things, and that will weave, I suppose, the ribbon, which will then seal up gaps and tears, but can also be used to ensnare enemies. It's quite clever. So it plays very much like a room clearing top-down ARPG. Certain enemies appear, you then weave them up, and then once you've kind of weaved them, or they've been weaved for long enough, they then pop, which then drops these little bits of currency that you can use later on. What was on show was just a very short part of the game. the intro sequence wasn't in there. It was obviously one of the first bits of the game as well. So you just go off in one direction, fly under some bits to prove that you know how to move about, and then you can actually dive right underneath these big thick layers to move from area to area. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I think it has a wonderful art style.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely stunning.
That's it. And the music was absolutely fantastic. I know you didn't get to hear any of that. And I quite like the idea of the game. It's just that classic good versus evil. Where's the evil come from? We're the only people who can save it, etc. story. And sometimes those are just nice, especially when it's got that lovely art style to it.
It certainly sounds interesting. So that brings us to the end of the main list. I was there with you on Saturday, and I played nothing because for the first time ever, I just had some kind of crazy social anxiety thing going on and was just trying to hide from people most of the day.
Would you like to talk about what was the game you said you played? Nothing?
I have played a game that was there since, because I saw it was there and mentioned it to you, and you said we had a review key, and that was Tracks.
Yes.
Which isn't really a game per se. It's more just a creative kind of just create your. I mean, it's based around the old wooden train sets.
Yeah,
that you had when, or the posh kids had when they were kids. I had plastic Thomas toys. But it's
the wooden train sets that were always on display outside the early learning centre.
Yeah, a Brio, I think they're
that's it. Yeah.
But it's just a fun little relaxing. You just get given. You can choose various different things, like a living room or a bedroom and things like that, and you just create a little train set and a little village, and there's loads of houses and the animals that you can place down and fences, and there's even little people, and you can make little platforms, and the people will gather on the platforms and they'll get on the train as you go past. And when I because I thought it was just creative, because I played a really early beta of it ages ago, 2 years ago probably, and they have added more, and is a kind of a game element where there's in the room that you've chosen, there are little collections of these little people just sort of hanging around, and you have to build the train set purposely to go and pick them up, and then there's stations stationed somewhere else in the room, and you have to build the train set to get them to the station, and once you do the first lot, another lot will appear, and you have to rearrange your train set to pick them up and things like that. So yeah, it's quite fun.
That's pretty cute, actually. When you started talking, when you started talking about it, and obviously most of what people have said about it just sounded like a creative mode, but I am glad that there is, although not a challenge mode per se, I am glad that there is that element to it.
Yeah, obviously, it is still early in the product's life cycle, so they could expand on that quite a bit.
I hope that it does. Have you played Mini Metro?
Yeah, the puzzle game where you're doing just like a underground map, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's the underground network maps, and you've only got a certain amount of trains and a certain amount of lines that you can have. I hope that they do something like that. That could be quite good.
It could be. I was no good at that Mini Metro. I got to about level 3 and then just gave up. I just couldn't do it. But
that's fine. Can't be good at everything.
Is there anything else either of you would like to mention from the event?
I didn't play any games at EGX apart from the games that I've talked about. Really, I had like a couple more. I spent the first 2 days, it seemed, just meeting people and talking to people and going to meetings, and
we went to bonus stage.
Oh, we could talk about bonus stage. We went to bonus stage.
Yeah.
Bonus stage is this like fringe event that happens on the last day. Well, it happens on the Sunday, either during EGX or normally EGX is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And normally there isn't EGX on the Sunday. So on the Sunday you can go to bonus stage, but this year EGX was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it was during the last day of EGX. It's basically this little fringe event where there's a bunch of games showcased at the loading bar scenario, and you go and check them out. There's like a People's Choice Award voting, and a lot of it are games that are not very polished. They're the first time being showcased, quite a few of them, and other ones, quite a few of them are very local as well, and other ones are more polished and released. I don't know, it's a great mix. And we went down and played the games.
And there were some good games there.
There was. My favorite game, it's not actually my favorite game, that's not true. The game that won is Black Friday Simulator. Black Friday, the Ultimate Shopping Simulator, I think is the full title. And that's a game that me and Dan played against each other, and I won, which is the important bit. Because basically what you do is you pull a fire alarm, and then you have to go through a shop knocking everything on the floor, and the amount of produce that you put on the floor, their value is your score. So you have a huge shopping center in front of you. You can look at a map, though that doesn't pause the game, so it's a waste of time. And you have to try to decide what the most expensive items are and pull them off the shelves. You can do that by either running along the shelf with your hand out, but sometimes that pushes items back into the shelf, or by using both of your hands to sort of grab and pull them, but it's not really gripping, it's just sort of knocking, like a baby. And just a trick in the game is to knock off the alcohol and baby stuff to get the most amount of points, because as everyone knows, alcohol is super expensive, as is having a baby, so that's going to be more expensive than things like produce. But there are funny logos and brands on everything, like the baby diapers all have babies crying on them as opposed to babies looking happy and serene and stuff like that. It's really great.
There were the nappies for people who play MMOs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were.
So they don't have to get up. Yeah.
So it's a really fun game.
That was very good. And then there was the shepherding, or the game where you were sheepdogs.
So it's a co-op game where you basically play two little dogs. You get to pick the dogs. Well, you play a dog and your friend plays a dog, and you get to pick your dogs. And then together you have to keep all of the sheep alive. And there's different, first of all, the title screen, the level select screen was wonderful, because you have to actually herd the dogs into the level that you want. Thought that was great. Genius. And then once the level starts, you have a number of sheep, and you have to keep them going for as many waves as there are, and stuff falls from the sky like giant weights, and you have to keep them away from the shadows, and sometimes bombs fall, and these bombs can roll around. They can sort of fall on top of sheep or on top of you. However, once they explode, they destroy everything around it if they're sheep. However, if you get hit or if you get exploded on, you just get stunned for a little bit of time, so sometimes it's strategic to sacrifice yourself. And there was also bones that made you go faster as a sort of power-up. It's a very early version of the game. It's the first time that developer had ever showcased, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful little game.
And then upstairs you had, there was quite a bit actually. I didn't fully get round actually, to be honest with you. I know obviously Ruya was up there, and is it Rich from Off Grid? I know he wasn't there, but is he one of the organisers of, or was he one of the organisers of this bonus stage?
I don't believe so. However, Off Grid was there on the projector.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Off Grid was there. There was also a game whose title I don't know. That's basically a multiplayer arena fighting. Well, it's not fighting. A multiplayer arena game where everyone's got throwing stars, and it's beautiful. And you just throw your throwing stars and you kill people. That's quite fun. Don't remember the name though. It's also a point-and-click adventure game that looked quite interesting that I didn't quite get into. Yeah.
Oh, and T-Powered Studios were there with.
Oh, it's Elemental Flow.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is their game about conversations where you have to try to navigate through awkward conversations and give people the reactions that are appropriate at the times and not talk over them and stuff.
That sounds like my life simulator.
Sounds like
conversations.
Sounds like podcast simulator.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a fun event. And lots of good stuff on the show, and I'll look forward to going again next year.
Play some games next year, mate.
Oh yes, next year I'll probably try and get to go for 2 days, so I can spend 1 day filming, and then I'll spend another day actually playing things, which would be nice.
Good plan.
There was lots of good stalls there. One thing I did see, a couple of years ago, I bought a custom Game Boy. So one that had a backlit screen and the pro audio output and everything, that kind of stuff. And the guy I bought it off was there. And it was quite good to have a little chat with him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just the same guy. As someone who goes to all of these events, it's always the same guy.
That's the guy
selling all the Game Boys.
If you type in custom Game Boys online, you find in the UK, you find one person, and that's custom Game Boy or GameBoyMods.co.uk, which I think it was there.
Is this the guy who was at the local event that happened in our town where we live? The one that took place at the leisure centre?
I don't know. I don't know what about
I wasn't
that
there.
event.
I don't know.
Did you not attend that? It's a guy about the same height as me, black hair, thinner than me, working on backlit Game Boys.
Coolies. Yeah, I mean, it was good. I went to see him because my Game Boy screen is scratched up. So I went and asked him if he had any more lens covers, but he didn't have any, which was a shame.
No.
So I'll have to order one from him online. But it's all good. But yeah, there's quite a good few little stalls in there. One that sold loads of plushies and things, which was quite cool. And obviously the big board game area, which I had a little stroll around, where loads of people playing games. It was good stuff.
Cool.
But anyway,
I never check out the sort of stalls where you buy stuff. I don't know why, but it's never been of interest to me. And I always feel like all of the events are the same crap.
I always look and then feel disappointed because I've never got any money to buy anything.
Fair.
There was this thing. There was a Bubble Bobble plushie that made noise when you squeezed it, and apparently the guy there said it was literally the last one because the company that made it haven't got the license anymore.
Licensing issues.
And I was sitting there going, I've got just about enough to buy this. Do I buy it? And I was like, no, I didn't get it in the end.
You'll regret that in a few years.
I
yes,
will.
you will.
I probably will, yes. But anyway, I think that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you both for joining me. And so from me, Dan and Jupiter, we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.